Hey guys, this is Dinosaur, and today I'm going to show you guys how to draw a Spinosaurus in color. But before we're going to get into the video, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell, because I've noticed that a lot of you guys are not subscribed yet, and it helps me out a lot if you actually do subscribe. So if you really like my videos and you don't want to search me up every once in a while if I uploaded a new video, you can just subscribe and hit the notification bell. It's just that easy. So let's get into the video. Alright, so what I've noticed is that I am very bad at doing color myself. But the fact is that I did actually upload a video which was about the Dilophosaurus in color from Jurassic Park. And I mentioned in the comment section below that whenever that video got more than 50 likes, I would do a proper coloring tutorial. So I'm gonna try to do what I can to teach you guys how to add a little bit of color, at least how I would do it, because as you can see, this one is completely a failed attempt. This one is like, it's not good at all, but it's good enough, you know, for me at least. So I'm gonna show you guys how to do something like this, maybe a little bit better, because these are all just quick sketches and stuff. But yeah, it's gonna be something like this. Alright, so before we can start off our drawing, our coloring, we are gonna need a drawing first. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna be drawing a very quick sketch of a Spinosaurus. So I'm just gonna do the Spinosaurus at the same pose that I did my sketch at. So what we want to do, we want to start off with a circle right about here. So it's gonna be a decently sized circle. It doesn't have to be a perfect circle. It's just to indicate where everything will be. So this is gonna be a snout. We want to draw a line like this. Something like this, and then it goes out like that, and it goes up. So this is gonna be one of his eye ridges. So he has a double one, I think. So he has like a very, well, let's put the other one over here. Like that. And we have to adjust. So I'm just doing the sketching at the way that I normally do my sketches, and it's gonna be very, very messy, to be honest, but yeah, it will do. Alright, so we want to draw his bottom jaw right here. His lower jaw muscle, and then we can see pretty decent area of his jaw right there. And it's not gonna be perfect at all, because it's just gonna be a quick sketch. So that people kind of get the idea of what we're drawing. Alright, so now we want to have the chest area over here. And we want to draw the hind leg right there. But his fin will be somewhere... his sail will be somewhere like right over there, maybe a little bit bigger, like this. And now let's start on focusing on his chest area. So this is gonna be one of his chest muscles right there, and then there's gonna be another one over here. We want to have his hand sort of facing us a little bit, so we're not gonna draw too much of it. Something like this. And then we just connect his hand to his arm a little bit, like that. And maybe let's draw him more like he is standing upright a little bit more. His other hand will be about right over here somewhere. So we're drawing a couple of claws right here. Something like this would be fine. Yeah, I want to draw him standing upright a little bit more, so his fin will have to be placed a little bit more like this. So we are gonna have to erase a little bit, but later on we will just go over it with a darker pen, or if you're doing this with colored pencils, you can just use a black pencil to go over it, because this is not the correct way of doing it. This is my way of doing it, by seeing other people draw stuff. Alright, so so now we want to have one leg right here. This one leg is facing a little bit to this side. So we can put in the claws right like this. Over here would be part of his hip, and then his tail will go like this, curved back, and we can see his tail over here. We don't even have to draw in much of his tail, this is just fine. So now we will have to draw in the toes and stuff. You don't have to do it perfectly, just do it about the same way I'm doing it right now, and this will just be fine, because we can always go back in later and change it. So yeah, the other foot will be more like this. So this would be his knee over here, and then go like this, and then it would go like that. So this foot is a little bit more facing this side. So over here would be his calf muscle. And we can see two toes, I think. But I'll have to... Well, I guess this is sort of fine, because these feet are not at the same level, but again, this is also because of the angle that we're standing at. We are about this height, his chest height, or we can just draw it like in one. More like we are at leveled with his feet, but that would be, yeah, we'll just draw it like this, but we will have to lower this foot just a tiny little bit, because it's a little bit too low. Let's check if you can see everything. Yeah, you can. Alright, so we are going to lower that foot a little bit by changing the angle. So now it's more at about the same level as everything else. But it looks a little bit thicker, but we can go in later and change that. So now we want to have the basic details for where his teeth are going to be, his claws and everything. So we're just gonna try and draw those in, and maybe adjust his tail a little bit. So this is really messy, but again, this is just because I'm not usually doing these kinds of videos, and this is not about the drawing tutorial. This video is about how to color your drawings, and yeah. Alright, so we want to have a bump right there. So let's do a couple of things. I want to have his sail to be a tiny little bit bigger. That would be about fine. And let's put some detail around his eye. So he has a area that goes like this right there, and then over here would be his eye socket or something, and we can just put his eye in like right over there. That would be fine. So he has a two kind of bony ridges going on here. We have to make sure to put those in, because otherwise it wouldn't be accurate. Not that it really matters that much, because again, it is a coloring video, not a drawing video. But yeah, you get the idea. Alright, something like this. So now we want to put in some teeth. They don't have to be perfect, just, well, unless you really want to create an amazing piece of art, you could try and get it perfect. But for this purpose of this video, I will not get it perfect. Alright, something like that. And then at this point, it is time to figure out where are we going to put lighter areas, and where are we going to add some more some shadow. I'm sorry. I want to change this foot up a little bit, because I want to be able to see one more toe back there. Or maybe not. Well, I don't really like the shape of this foot, so I'm just gonna go ahead and change it a little bit. Maybe make it so that it's facing us a little bit more. So I'm just gonna be drawing shape like this, shape like that, or not a shape, just a line. And something like that. So now I know where the toes are going to go. Alright, this looks a little bit more interesting. Might be a little bit too small, but yeah, doesn't really matter too much. So I have to pay attention to the fact that I don't want to make this video to be too long, and I want to change his eye, by the way. I want to have it a little bit more in front, because it's just, it doesn't look right to me. This looks a little better, in my opinion. And we can just darken this whole area, because this way his eye will stand out a little bit more. But that's something for later. All right. So what we want to do now is we want to take a black coloring pencil, or just a black pen, And I usually use the Micron brush pen for this one. Let's see if I can find it. So what I'm looking at right now is, as you can see, I'm not sure if it will really focus. Well, let's see. I'm not sure if you can really see it, but it says a number, and sometimes it says like a couple of letters, and I'm looking for the brush pen, and it says BR for brush on the top of the well, I'll just get them all out because I can't find it. Alright, let's see. Alright, so yeah, here we are. So as you can see, if it will focus, not sure if you can really see it, but it says brush PR on the top of the pen. And what I usually do at this stage is I go over everything and I darken the shadowing areas. I don't, in a case like this where it's facing us, I don't want to have like one full side of shadow. I'm gonna try out something different. I'm just gonna go into every area where it sort of separates, and I want to add a little bit of shadow to it. So yeah, this will probably be in time lapse. Alright, and if you've done everything just the way as how I showed you guys how I did this, then you should have something that looks similar to this. Now comes the part where we want to add some color. So this is gonna be quite tricky because we will have to pay attention to where the highlights are, and we will have to pay attention to where the shadow areas are. So basically, the areas where there's gonna be a lot of shadow will be darker in color, but the areas where there's gonna be a lot of highlight will be lighter in color. So yeah, I will have to look up what the Dinosaur actually looks like and what colors I'll have to use. Well, actually I cannot do that because I'm using my phone to record, so I'll just have to go from memory. So yeah, I'll be getting my my stuff ready. Alright, so there we are again. So I picked a couple of colors that I thought was gonna be helpful. So basically what I'm trying to do is we are gonna need a reddish color. So this is vivid red, and then we want to have a lighter tone, and this is actually pink, but you can use, because I don't have the huge variety of different colors, but this is a pink and this is a vivid red. And then for the, well, I want to use this barely beige for his tongue and this area right there. So that's gonna be just a little bit. But then I have 3 different shades of gray. So basically, well, actually we can take that make that 2. So I'm gonna put this one away. So now we have 4 colors, just 2 variations. And so yeah, I'll just try to use gray and red, because I'm not sure what colors the Spinosaurus is originally, but I think gray it could look pretty cool. So what I'm gonna start off with is I wanna take let's take the red first. So I wanna take my red, and then I wanna go over the darkest areas with this reddish color. And over here as well, taking into account the pattern that we see on the Spinosaurus, because he has a certain pattern which I am not really certain about anymore, because I don't have a reference image. We will just make his whole snout reddish color, like so. And I am leaving some areas a little bit more white, because we will go over that with the pink. And I'm not sure how far down this reddish color actually goes into his neck and stuff. I think he has some red on his lower jaw as well. Let's not get too overboard with it. Alright, so that's gonna be all for his head. That's all that I'm gonna do with this darker red. I do wanna have some reddish colors in the top of his spine. And I've also noticed that he has some gray colors in his spine. When I looked at the reference photo earlier, well, not earlier, but like yesterday. I want to have a good transition between the red and the gray. So alright, that's gonna be all for the red. And now I'm gonna take the cool gray, or this is the dark blue light, I guess. And well, no, let's go with the cool gray. Let's see what color this is. Yeah, this is fine. So now I'm just gonna go over this area right here. And I want to mix these colors together. So the way that I'm gonna do that is by going over the transitional area of the reds, and just keep on going over it until you get the right tone, I guess. So that it looks like it's mixed together a little bit. And then you just go back to your red and you make the areas that are supposed to be more red a little bit more red, so that you don't lose too much of the reddish tone. So that looks fine to me. I'm gonna put these aside because I'm now gonna use the pink, and I hope this will look good, but I am completely uncertain about this, but we will have to see how it will look, because we can use the we can try and blend it a little bit. And I do want to leave a couple of highlights, like right on the ridge right there. Just gonna leave that white. Because I don't want to color in everything. Trying to get the right tones and everything. Alright, so I think this is starting to look pretty decent in my opinion. Now I want to do the same thing for his bottom jaw right here, because I think there's a little bit more of the reddish colors in his bottom jaw as well. So now again, I'm just gonna go back to the red and blend the colors together. And I'm hoping for a good transition between the two colors. Just keep going back and forth until I get the right transition that I want. Alright, so now I will go to my gray colors. And I will try to get some gray colors into it. So at the areas that are still white, I'm gonna try and make it a little bit more gray. And I do want to leave some highlights, of course. Alright, something like that. Okay, so now I'm gonna take this one, and this is the barely beige color, and I'm gonna go into this area, and it looks a little bit more yellowish than what I would like to have it. So I am just gonna try and use the pink and add a little bit more of a pink color to it, and that looks a little bit better in my opinion. Also want to color in his tongue. Alright, so that's looking pretty good. So I wanna get the what is this? This is the cool gray. Alright, so I want to have a darker gray to work with, because this gray is a little bit too light. So I will be back. Alright, I've got a little bit of a darker variant of it. And this will serve a little bit better, I guess. Alright. So we are gonna add this just at certain areas where we want to have a little bit more shadow, a little bit more darker coloring. Alright, that's fine. So now, what we want to do is we want to go in and add the darker gray at a lot of areas. So yeah, just at the areas where there's a lot of shadowing, we want to add this gray, but only at those areas, because we don't want to make the whole drawing look too dark. And I actually accidentally forgot to I forgot to get a little bit of shadow into his other hand right here. Let's just quickly do that right now. Alright, that's a little bit better. So now we just want to add this gray over it. And we want to add it everywhere where there is a little bit of tone in the drawing. So over here as well, let's just add it. This area is going to be really dark in comparison with the other areas of the drawing, but that's gonna be fine. There's nothing wrong with that. And over here as well, just add the darker gray. And you can do this with colored pencils as well, even the blending, because colored pencils, it's a little bit easier to blend in comparison with like cheap markers and stuff. So if you really want to get into using markers and blending, you should go to a more expensive variant of the actual markers. But if you just use colored pencils, you can just do the same thing as I'm doing right now, and you'll still get the same kind of result. And I can imagine that this video is getting pretty long at this point, but I'm not sure, because I can just edit a lot of it out, but then you will miss a lot of it, so we'll see what will happen. So yeah, we are pretty close to finishing up with this marker, or this shade. So literally, as you can see, I'm just going over every darkened area or every detailed area. Alright, so now we can take our lighter gray, and then we just go over that area with the lighter gray. Or over these areas, I'm sorry. Do want to have a couple of areas where it's just gonna be white because of the highlight in the drawing. I guess you could say it like that. And right now it might look a little bit messy and stuff, but I can assure you that later, once we finish the full drawing, it's gonna look a lot better, because we are gonna add some cross-hatching lines later, and that will make the whole drawing look better in general. And we can even go back over it with the darker gray if we are not satisfied with the results. And I think that I'm gonna be doing that later. But yeah. It is starting to come together quite nicely, in my opinion. But the fact is, I have no clue about the colors of the Spinosaurus, to be honest. I could just imagine him being some sort of grayish tone. But now that I look at it, there has to be a lot of more different colors, right? I think he even has some blue in it, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe we can edit later. We'll see what happens. So yeah, as you can see, the way that I color my drawings, there's not really much of a specialty to it. It's just, if you use certain steps, your drawing might look a little bit better. So I'm gonna leave a couple of areas a little bit more whitish, so that maybe later when I go over it, we'll create a little bit of detail to that area. I'm not sure, but it could work. So let's see, because I've got another one. This is the dark blue light. Let's see on a separate piece of paper what it looks like. Alright, yeah. So we're gonna give it a little bit of a different tone right here by adding this color over top of it. And I'm gonna add this at the darker areas as well. because it seems like it somehow shades a little bit better. All right. And like I said, now it might not look too good, but once we finish up the cross hatching and stuff, it's gonna look pretty good. And you can see me just going over everything a couple of times actually. Because I was not really satisfied with the effect it was giving me, so I just went over it again to make it look a little bit more darker and stuff. Alright. So we are nearing the point of being able to get some cross hatching in. I think I forgot an area. This is the cool gray. Is this the right one? This is the right one, alright. Okay. So there we are basically. So yeah, now all we have to do is a little bit of cross hatching, and then the drawing would be finished. So alright, so yeah, for this point, for this part, I mean, you are going to need a very dark pen, or well not a pencil, a very dark pen, yeah. And if you're doing this with colored pencils, you can just use a black pencil, but make sure it has a very sharp point. Alright, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try and get the right one for the job. I think I found one. So this is the 0.8 millimeter micron pen. And what I'm gonna do now is I'm just gonna do some cross hatching lines. Make sure you go with the shape of the area that you are working on, and this is gonna take some time. So this will be again in time lapse. So see you guys later. Alright, I'm back, and I accidentally forgot to turn off my my light, so it might be a little bit, let's say, darker or lighter in color, depending on how much light I put on the paper. But we are almost done. The only thing that I always like to do is I'd like to go back in with a white pen and go over the teeth just one more time to make sure that they actually do stand out, because sometimes you accidentally go over the teeth a little bit and it will well, it will kind of make the teeth look smaller than they actually are. So that's why I always like to go back in and put in a couple of teeth. And you can just use any white kind of pen there, or even pens to erase ink of your paper, and you can use those as well. But I'm using a white gel pen, so this is fine for me. So we are about done, and I am not really sure how long this video is gonna be at the end when I'm done editing, but I hope it won't be longer than 1 hour. But this was a video that was actually highly requested by a lot of people, so I'm glad I finally did it. So yeah, if you liked the video, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you won't miss a single video. And yeah, this was Dinosaur Drawing. Goodbye.